Hello, and welcome to Leadership Development Skills. I'm your Professor John Harvey. Here we are in week 6. This week, or module 6, I guess, week 6, module 6, same thing here. You notice the frequency there. This week you're working on chapter 6, which is covering ethics. So a couple things about ethics to cover. First of all, this is covered in every class because we want to make sure and give you a framework, or have you at least think through a framework for how to deal with problems that don't have a necessarily right or wrong answer. So you run into this as you kind of go through life, where you may have a set of beliefs and process of things. You grow up, don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, things like that. So some of these things you can come up with as a frame of reference from how you were brought up. Then you get into areas where it's like, well, there's not really a right answer on this or a wrong answer. It's just you got to make a decision. And so in college, we want you to be able to have some sort of framework to think through that. And that's kind of what ethics is there to do, is to help you come up with that. The thing I'd say, if we were talking in a law class, I'd say, what's legal is at one level, and what's ethical is kind of calling you to a higher standard. So, you need to do the right thing, but sometimes, what's legal is not always, you don't have to do that thing. So there's kind of a challenge there. In this class, when we're talking about leadership, what I'd say is, whatever level you hold yourself to, generally your team, the people that are around you, are going to be below that. And so, if you really want to hang out and be associated or communicate to a team to do the right thing, you've really got to hold yourself to that standard, because they're looking at any chance or any piece of data points to question that. And so this is where leaders of companies can get into trouble, is their behavior may not be ethical in some areas, and then people in the company see that and they go, well, okay, if he's willing to take something out of the cafeteria, then it's okay for me to take something out of the office. And then someone sees that and they go, okay, well, if he's taking something out of the office, then it's okay for me to cheat on my timesheet, and then pretty soon you really have a behavior or a culture within the company that is like, well, the rules are kind of more guidelines, they're not really requirements. We try and hold ourselves, and so you run into a very, it trickles down and can cause a big problem. So, not only do you want other people around you to be held to a high standard, you need to hold yourself to that standard or higher, because that reflects kind of in your community and in your culture. And as you're trying to set leadership, it's really important to, these are the defining moments that you get. If somebody says something and you say something amiss, or you say something, where you follow after your convictions and you hold to that, whether they like it or not, they will respect it, and it will affect the image of the culture. So companies, for that reason, oftentimes talk about, we hold to the highest ethics. We are, holding ourselves to a higher standard. We want to always make sure that we're doing the right thing, because they really want to set that bar at a level that, makes everyone recognize the value in doing that. And so as you're reading through this chapter, think about those two things, and also just recognize that sometimes you have to use a framework and say, well, am I going to make this decision based on making sure no one gets hurt, or am I making sure that the least amount of people get hurt? Which one provides the most benefit to the most number of people? There's just you got to kind of come to an area, and the tried and true is, do you feel like you could sleep at night? Do you feel like you be able to tell your parents or your your pastor or something like that. If not, then don't do it, that kind of thing. So think about it in that framework as something to help you with this. But again, the chapter gives you some good guidelines and helps you understand kind of how this is important to business. So with that, wanted to jump over to the papers. So many of you have submitted the papers. I've moved that requirement from Module 5 to Module 6 so that you have that week. Hopefully that makes it available for you to still put it in. I hope that doesn't confuse you guys. Again, I'm still trying to work through Canvas and make sure I get all the things working right. So bear with me if your grade doesn't look right or something isn't graded. I'm still trying to work through all that. But we'll get through it this semester, and thank you for hanging in there. But your paper should be completed by the end of this week, and then I can start getting in and grading those. So reach out if you have any questions, and I will talk to you again soon. Take care, guys. All right.